Peace. What up, y'all? Phil James. Today's Tuesday, January 16th, 2018, and this is video number 2 today. Number two. Alright, it is 5:51 p.m. and yeah, hopefully you guys see this title. Martian ice deposits could sustain human outposts in the future. How many people can name a problem with that title right there? How many people? Every single one of my subscribers. So 271 people at least right there. Probably the majority of Richie from Boston subscribers. So 170,000 people can all name at least one problem with that. Alright, well, allow me to name a couple. We can't go to the moon. We can't leave low Earth orbit. And Mars, the surface and the atmosphere of Mars, is entirely toxic. Also, let me go ahead and name one more. The atmosphere of Mars is actually so thin that a parachute will not open in the atmosphere of Mars. And you want to go into advanced problems with said title. Problems like Mars probably is not even a celestial physical body orbiting the sun. Probably not at all. Not at all, you know, and it's not hard to see when you use a telescope and look up at it because it looks like a luminary, a little flickering light in the sky, and not solid, not celestial, not three-dimensional, not like a so-called planet that orbits around the sun. It does not look like any of that. So for HuffPost and NASA and all these agencies and mainstream news companies to come out and talk about the 100-meter thick ice deposits on very steep cliff faces that would sustain human life when we get there is absolutely absurd. And that's exactly what this article is doing. It's telling you how once we get to Mars, we won't have to worry about our drinking water because there's big sheets of almost pure ice. Pure water, in other words. Now, what else does this type of article do for humanity and for the mainstream agendas? Well, when you see articles like this, they're predictively programming you. And they are predictively programming you to believe that there's a much easier chance that some sort of living microbial life form will be there in that ice. Or preparing you to hear about a type of bacteria that is found on Mars or the moon or, you know, Titan, the moon of Saturn, or, you know, under the ice of Io, or, you know, over on Europa, or whatever one. You know, there's just so much shit. It's hard to even tell. But the point remains, and the point I'm making is very clear. When these types of stories come out, and they talk about big sheets of ice, and, you know, anything that's a supporter of life here on Earth, when they talk about it on another planet, or another body in the space that they made up, they like to bring up the possibility of life. They like to bring up the possibility of some sort of evolution taking place on some planet far away. And then they preach that to us, to the masses, and the majority of those masses will clearly go right along with it and be like, yeah, there's alien life on Mars because they found sheets of ice. So you know there's bacteria, microbes, or, you know, all types of little single-celled organisms in that ice. We find it all the time in Antarctica. They're called extremophiles. They can live in the ice, or they can live around the steaming, super hot deposits at the bottom of the ocean, you know. So that's what this type of story gets you ready for. to predictively program you for the alien life, to predictively program you for space travel that is not possible, and basically to take you wherever they want to go from that point. So I just wanted to throw this out there because this, this story just came out a couple days ago, a day ago or something. Here, I'll just check to be sure. Oh no, 2 hours ago it was updated. So 1:16, yeah, 2 hours ago. So yeah, this is a big deal right now. Everybody's talking about the sheets of ice that will support human life once we get to Mars. The problem is we're not going to Mars, nor will we, because I do not think you can land on it. Secondly, you would go to the moon first, again, as a test run, because we hadn't been there since the 60s and 70s, and we lost all the technology to get somewhere as close as the moon, 238,000 miles away. But Mars is probably, at least 9 times that far. So I don't know the exact distance of the Earth, from the Earth to Mars, but I do know the moon, or the lunar surface, they claim 238,000 miles away. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we can't go to the moon, what makes you think we're going to Mars? Well, we're not. It's simple as that. But they're going to sit here and talk about this, the water, sheets of the pure water ice that's all over the Martian surface. Then they're going to talk about how Elon Musk has a very great idea to nuke the surface of Mars, because if we nuke the surface of Mars, it'll become inhabitable for humans. Or, his other prediction, or his other ideas, like, launching his Tesla Roadster to orbit Mars. Just those ridiculous stories that really make you wonder what the purpose of it is. Well, it's to get the masses to fall for whatever it is that comes next. Well, hint, what comes next? Fake alien invasion, ripping the veil open, letting through a bunch of demonic deities, a bunch of demonic, horrifyingly evil beings that will inhabit some sort of bot or some sort of program, or, God knows what, some sort of human that they're probably growing, because our military and the powers that be have technology far beyond what our minds can even perceive. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there. This went a long way further than what I was going to go, but whatever. You get the idea, the purpose, and what they plan on doing with these stories. So, yeah, it's Phil James, and I'm out. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, share, any of those would be cool. Link will be in the description, and you can find numerous more articles that refer to this very same story. I just hadn't seen anybody talk about it, so I wanted to throw it out there just to show that, eventually they're going to build off of this type of article, and God only knows where it'll go from there. So, peace, y'all.